for always joining us and sharing your insight all the way from Singapore. Now we move on to our next news. European leaders are sending a clear message ahead of Friday's Trump-Putin summit in Alaska. Russia cannot be trusted and Ukraine must be at the table for any peace talks. Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk warned that Moscow wants to discuss reducing NATO troops in Eastern Europe, a move he says must be firmly rejected. Let's listen into what Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has said.
Ale dla mnie rzeczą najważniejszą jest, aby i Polska, i inne państwa europejskie skutecznie przekonywały amerykańską administrację i prezydenta Trumpa, że nie można ufać Putinowi i Rosji i że jedyną drogą, jedynym sposobem, i to była i to mówił prezydent Zełenski, ja to bardzo wyraźnie też podkreślałem w czasie obu spotkań, jedynym sposobem jest, i to nie jest slogan, jest zmuszenie Rosji do uczciwego.
Now, France's Emmanuel Macron has said that there are no serious territory swap plans on the table and that security guarantees for Ukraine and Europe are non-negotiable. He added that nothing is off the table for more sanctions on Russia. Finland's President Alexander Stubb revealed that President Trump told leaders territorial issues will not be discussed in Alaska. European Council President Antonio Costa stressed the need for maximum pressure on Russia and a united diplomatic front between Europe and the United States. Germany, meanwhile, announced a $500 million US-sourced military aid package for Ukraine. Chancellor Friedrich Merz says there is hope for movement and peace in Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky reiterated no decision about Ukraine without Ukraine. Let's listen to what German Chancellor Merz and Ukrainian President has said.
In Alaska müssen grundlegende europäische und ukrainische Sicherheitsinteressen gewahrt bleiben. Das war die Botschaft, die wir heute als Europäerinnen und Europäer dem amerikanischen Präsidenten Trump mit auf den Weg gegeben haben. Und ich kann sagen, wir waren uns sowohl in der Bewertung der Ausgangslage als auch in dem erreichbaren Ziel für den kommenden Freitag sehr einig.
І мирні переговори слід поєднувати з належним тиском на Росію. Санкції повинні бути і повинні бути посилені, якщо Росія не погодиться на припинення вогню в Алясці.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer says there is now a viable chance for a ceasefire in Ukraine. Speaking on a coalition of the willing call with European leaders, Starmer credited US President Donald Trump's efforts ahead of his crucial talks with Russia's President Vladimir Putin. Let's listen into what the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said.
Years this conflict has been going on and we haven't got anywhere near the prospect of actually a viable solution, a viable way of bringing it to a ceasefire. And now we do have that chance because of the work that the President has put in. And
now for this discussion, we're joined by Glenn Grant. He's an ex-advisor to Ukrainian Defense Minister, joins us live from Riga, Latvia. Thank you, Glenn, for joining us today. Good to see you. Now, yesterday when we talked in our last discussion, you showed some pessimism over the upcoming talks and the fact that it does not include your Ukrainian leader. But now that we know the second discussion will include him, how do you assess yesterday's talks? What do you think? What's your reaction about this outcome?
Well, I think the first thing one has to look that actually nothing has changed. I mean, when people talk about Trump's efforts, well, there haven't been any efforts at all. He hasn't done anything. Sending someone to talk to Putin is just like Vitkov is just putting a rabbit into a lion's cage. So there's been actually no change in anything. The war has been going on now for 11 years. And you heard Starmer actually just say now that nothing has happened, and it hasn't actually happened any differently. So for people to get excited about the possibility of these meetings, I think is a bit foolish. Putin is winning in this regard because he's just got, for his own internal audience, a meeting with the President of the United States. So for Putin, he's already won in that regard. He doesn't want peace. There's not one single shred of evidence of any size that he wants peace. He's moving forward. And I think he will continue to move forward, and people will continue to talk. I think the Europeans are being, just very hopeful again. And I remind you, we were here about 6 months ago, exactly the same sort of arguments and the same discussion, and nothing has happened since then.
Right. But do you still think that this united front and pressure by European leaders who are allies of Ukraine, do you think this has any effect? You said 6 months ago we were at the same place, now we're at the same place again. Do you think will it change anything?
I'm inclined to think not. And I'm not pessimist, I'm realist. Because I just don't see that there's anything there. I mean, the trouble is, people have talked to Trump before. All the leaders have been to Washington before. And the fact is that Putin would not come to America and risk everything if he didn't know that Trump was actually going to acquiesce towards some of his demands. Because he's already made his demands clear, where Vitkov has made them, Lavrov has made them, time and time and time again. He's not going to change those demands. He wants Ukraine. And I don't see that Trump is going to do anything, because he hasn't done anything before. I don't see he's suddenly going to change his mind and bully or threaten his puppet master with anything realistic. Please, I want to be wrong. I want to see something change, but I'm sorry, I just don't see that this is on the cards, really.
Thank you very much, Glenn Grant, for